Okay, we're back. We're going to read some more from Exodus chapter 7. And we're going to be in the second to last reading in chapter 7. Then chapter 8's coming up right after that. But before we start into the reading, let's go check out a little bit more from the video through Ark Discovery about revealing God's treasure, where they talk about some of the journeys and exploration that Ron Wyatt did, sometimes with his son, sometimes with other people, to look for artifacts referred to in the Old Testament of the Bible. So, great site to check out. Let's listen to a little more from Mr. Wyatt.
Well, due to my carelessness, I got sunburned to the point that my legs swelled up, my feet, and all of this, and I couldn't get my diving equipment on. So I was up in Jerusalem hobbling around, feeling very, very rained on, waiting for my cheap airline ticket, the date that was on it, to arrive so we could fly home. We didn't have the money to change the ticket. And during this time, I was hobbling around the city a little bit. And one day I met this archaeologist who was in charge of the Jerusalem area there. And why he should be talking to me, I don't have a clue. I didn't look very presentable. We were staying in a youth hostel, sleeping in our clothes. I'm sure I didn't smell very good. Maybe I was fortunate enough that he was upwind from me or something. But anyway, we got into a conversation, and I told him about Noah's Ark, and then I explained to him how the pyramids were built, and that seemed to get his attention. So he says, I've been doing some digging along this cliff face here. He says, how about coming along with me and have a look at it and see what you think? So I was walking along, looking. These were Roman ruins and remains. And my left hand suddenly pointed out at a grubby-looking hole in the rock where there was garbage, 2 dead cats, just, shall we say, nasty stuff. And my mouth said, that's Jeremiah's grotto, and the Ark of the Covenant is in there. This guy said, that's wonderful. He said, we will let you excavate there, and we'll provide you a place to stay, your food, your laundry. I can, understand why he mentioned laundry. But I couldn't understand a Jewish person being that generous. That's not their nature. And I was stunned because I had not been thinking about the Ark of the Covenant at all. Wondering why on earth we hadn't been able to get some chariot wheels out. You see, I pray about everything, folks. I did back then too. I knew I was supposed to be there. But what I thought I was supposed to be there for was not what I was supposed to be there for. So anyway, our ticket was due to the date it finally arrived, and that was the next morning after we had this conversation, or after I had the conversation with this man. So I said, well, that's great. I'll come back and do that.
Yep, that's what he said. Some of you already know what happened after that, but some of you don't, and you might want to find out. Let's read a little bit more about Who's the Goose. Who's the preacher? In 1402, John was appointed rector and preacher at the Chapel of the Holy. Weird, the computer just glitched out. And what's really weird is it happened exactly as I thought about, wow, it's great the computer's working, I hope it doesn't glitch out. Then it did. Very, very interesting. Let's see if we can finish this. I'll try not to think about that. In 1402, John was appointed rector and preacher at the Chapel of the Holy Infants of Bethlehem in Prague. Thus John occupied two of the most strategic positions in all Bohemia. Although he was probably unaware of their importance, the city of Prague had a lengthy tradition of reform and could boast some outstanding preachers, who even preached from the Scriptures. To this tradition, Hus fell heir. The University of Prague was in the very center of the reform movement and was a place of ferment as new ideas and programs for the church were constantly being discussed. The chapel to which Hus was appointed was raised in 1391 by a rich merchant as a center for reform preaching. It was about the time that Hus began preaching that he glitchy. Try and read this paragraph, but it's glitchy, glitchy, glitchy. Sorry. It was about the time that Hus began preaching that he also was converted. It seems as if his conversion was centered in his calling to preach. Prior to 1400, Hus had studied for the priesthood in the firm conviction that this was the way to escape from poverty. But when actually confronted with the task of preaching, his life underwent a fundamental change, and he have to shut this computer down. It was going well. Now something's happening. I'm going to try and finish these last sentences. Fundamental change, he was overcome by the consciousness of the great task of preaching the gospel of Christ. He himself wrote of how important he considered preaching. Quote, "By the help of God I have preached, still am preaching, and if his grace will allow, shall continue to preach. If perchance I may be able to lead some poor, tired, or halting soul into the house of Christ, to the King's Supper." End quote. Okay, end of the video too. We're going to stop it because it is bugging out. And I'll set it up again by restarting it. And hope to read chapter 7, verses 14 through 18 next time. We'll get this one posted with any luck.